The Zaphirian Council had ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years. Their sleek obsidian ships cut through space like predators, and their towering forms commanded respect from every species they encountered, standing nearly 12 feet tall with 4 arms and crystalline exoskeletons that could deflect most energy weapons. They were the undisputed apex species of known space. Until they met humanity. Adnan pressed his face against the small porthole of the transport vessel, watching the stars streak past as they approached the neutral station where the first diplomatic meeting would take place. His dark hair was disheveled from sleep, and his brown eyes held a mixture of excitement and apprehension that only a 22-year-old xenobiologist could possess. "Still can't believe they chose us for this," he muttered to his research partner Kinza, who was hunched over her datapad, frantically reviewing their notes on Zaphirian physiology. Kinza looked up, her green eyes sparkling with determination. At 21, she had already published 3 papers on alien biochemistry that had revolutionized their understanding of non-human life forms. Her hijab was adorned with small pins representing various chemical compounds, her way of wearing her passion on her sleeve. "They chose us because we're expendable," she said matter-of-factly, then smiled. "And because we're the only team crazy enough to volunteer for first contact with a species that considers itself the galaxy's dominant predator." The Zaphirians had made first contact with humanity 6 months ago by destroying a mining colony on Kepler 442b. No warning, no communication, just complete annihilation. The message was clear. Humans were to submit or face extinction. Humanity's response had been unconventional. Instead of mobilizing fleets or surrendering, Earth's United Scientific Coalition had sent a small research vessel with 2 young scientists aboard, requesting a meeting. The Zaphirians, amused by what they perceived as humanity's naive attempt at diplomacy, had agreed. The docking procedures completed with mechanical precision, and soon Adnan and Kinza found themselves in a sterile chamber facing 3 towering Zaphirian representatives. The aliens' translator devices rendered their clicking, chittering language into cold, emotionless English. "We are Supreme Commander Vexthul, Science-Cast Zithara, and Warcast Krexnor," the central figure announced. "We have come to accept your species' surrender." Kinza stepped forward, her small frame dwarfed by the imposing aliens. "Actually, we're here to offer you ours." The Zaphirians' compound eyes shifted, confused. "Clarification required. Your surrender has already been assumed." Adnan pulled out a small sample container filled with what looked like ordinary water. "We've studied your biochemistry from the residual traces left at the mining colony. Fascinating physiology. Your crystalline exoskeleton is nearly indestructible. Your 4-chambered nervous system processes information at incredible speeds, and your cellular regeneration is remarkable." "These are known facts," Vexthul clicked dismissively. "We are the apex species. We have conquered 47 worlds, eliminated 6 species entirely, and enslaved countless others." "Yes, but you've never encountered anything quite like us," Kinza said, connecting her datapad to the room's holographic projector. "See? Every species you faced has tried to match your physical superiority or technological advancement. But humans, we're different." The hologram showed a 3-dimensional model of Zaphirian cellular structure. "Your exoskeleton is composed of silicon carbide crystals arranged in a hexagonal matrix. Nearly indestructible against energy weapons and kinetic impacts, but..." Adnan held up the container. "It has a fatal weakness, a specific resonance frequency that causes the crystals to shatter at a molecular level. We call it harmonics weaponization." "Impossible," Zithara hissed. "Our exoskeletons have withstood plasma cannons and antimatter charges." "Yes, but you've never faced targeted sound waves at precisely 47.3 kilohertz, Kinza continued. "At that frequency, your entire exoskeleton becomes brittle as glass. We discovered this purely by accident while studying the acoustic properties of your ship hulls." The 3 Zaphirians exchanged rapid clicks and chittering sounds, their translator struggling to keep up with their panicked communications. "Furthermore," Adnan said, warming to the subject, "your 4-chambered nervous system, while incredibly fast, has a critical vulnerability. Exposure to specific electromagnetic pulse patterns causes a cascade failure in your neural network. Takes about 30 seconds for complete system shutdown." Vexthul's massive form trembled slightly. You cannot threaten us with theoretical weapons. Kinza smiled, the kind of smile that had made her professors nervous during her university debates. Oh, Commander, these aren't theoretical anymore. Would you like a demonstration? She pressed a button on her datapad. Throughout the station, a subtle humming began, barely audible to human ears, but the effect on the Zaphirians was immediate. Their exoskeletons began developing hairline cracks, spreading like spiderwebs across their crystalline surfaces. The sound is being broadcast through the station's communication system, Adnan explained calmly. We've also been releasing microscopic electromagnetic pulse generators into the air circulation for the past 20 minutes. They're designed to target your specific neural frequency. Krexnor, the warrior, attempted to reach for his weapon but found his movements becoming sluggish as his nervous system began to fail. This is impossible. You are a primitive species. Primitive? Kinza laughed. Commander, humans have been killing each other with increasingly creative methods for millennia. We've had to develop weapons that could defeat armor, counter superior numbers, overcome technological disadvantages. We're not physically superior like you. We're intellectually creative. The Zaphirians collapsed to their knees as their exoskeletons continued to fracture and their nervous systems shut down. They weren't dying. Kinza had calibrated the effects to be temporarily debilitating rather than fatal. But the message was unmistakable. Every Zaphirian ship in our solar system has been broadcasting these frequencies for the past 6 months, Adnan said. Your crews are currently unconscious and your vessels are structurally compromised. Your fleet is effectively neutralized. Vexthal managed to raise his massive head. How did you develop these weapons so quickly? We didn't develop them, Kinza replied. We adapted existing human technology. The acoustic weapon is based on ultrasonic cleaning equipment. The neural disruptor uses the same principles as our medical MRI machines. We took tools designed to help and heal, and weaponized them in ways you never considered possible. This is what makes humans dangerous, Adnan continued. We don't just create weapons, we turn everything into a potential weapon. Our music, our medical equipment, our communication systems. To us, there's no such thing as purely peaceful technology. The station's humming stopped, and the electromagnetic pulse generators powered down. The Zaphirians' exoskeletons slowly began to regenerate, and their nervous systems rebooted. But the damage to their confidence was permanent. Your species has 2 choices, Kinza said, helping Vexthul to his feet with surprising gentleness. You can withdraw from human space and leave us alone, or you can try to fight us. But understand, we've already disseminated the technical specifications for these weapons to every human colony, ship, and outpost in known space. We've also identified 17 other critical vulnerabilities in Zaphirian physiology, Adnan added. Would you like us to demonstrate those as well? Vexthul looked at his companions, then back at the 2 young humans who had just systematically dismantled 3 millennia of Zaphirian military dominance in the span of 20 minutes. We will convey your terms to the High Council, he said finally. As the Zaphirians departed, their proud stride replaced by a cautious shuffle, Kinza turned to Adnan with a satisfied grin. Think they got the message? Adnan watched through the porthole as the massive Zaphirian dreadnoughts began their retreat, their crews probably still unconscious from the months-long exposure to human communication frequencies. I think, he said, they just learned why humans are the apex predator species. 3 weeks later, the Zaphirian Empire issued a galaxy-wide proclamation recognizing human sovereignty and establishing a permanent non-aggression treaty. The beings who had once considered themselves the ultimate alpha predators had learned a valuable lesson about the species that had turned warfare into an art form over millennia of practice. In the end, it wasn't humanity's strength that made them dangerous. It was their creativity, their adaptability, and their disturbing talent for turning anything and everything into a weapon when their survival was at stake. The galaxy had a new apex species, and it had earned that title not through superior evolution, but through superior innovation.